Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. This is my 25th video, and thank you for all your support thus far. In today's session, I thought of discussing limits of sine and cosine using the concept of unit circle, a circle whose center is the origin and the radius of one unit is called a unit circle, which we discussed in my previous videos. And you choose any point on the circumference is going to be P. I just name it as P, which is cos theta comma sine theta. We proved this uh, also, like why is it cos theta comma sine theta using a right angle triangle. All right. Since if you see the x-axis is represented by cos theta, there is a limit for cos theta, which is starting from -1 until +1. So it means that cos theta cannot go beyond -1 until +1. And if you see sine theta represents y-axis, the same with sine theta, -1 until +1. So therefore, the limit of sine is going to be -1 until +1. What is the reason for me saying that the sine theta and cos theta has limits from -1 to +1? For example, while solving right angle triangles or non-right angle triangles, you might end up with an equation, say sine theta is equal to 1 over 2 or cos theta is equal to a value. So if I say sine theta is equal to 1 over 2, this is what I'm trying to I'm trying to say that sine theta or cos theta is equal to a value. That value should lie between -1 to 1. So this 1/2 lies between -1 to 1. Therefore, the inverse is possible here. So how do we find theta from this equation? Is theta is equal to sine inverse of the right hand side or the arc sine of 1 over 2, which is 30 degrees, which is an acute angle. Right? I will repeat this once again. Sine theta or cos theta is equal to a value. That value should lie between -1 to +1. Otherwise, if any value that goes beyond the limit, it means the inverse doesn't exist. For example, if you do some mistake in the calculations and you say, like, end up saying that sine theta is equal to 1.1, and I've seen that a lot of students struggle with this, just keep on doing theta is equal to sine inverse of 1.1, and the calculator keeps saying math error. Why do I repeat this? Is that we should realize that the calculation has some mistakes. All right. So whenever you end up with sine theta is equal to a value or cos theta is equal to a value, that particular value should be between -1 to +1. Otherwise, it seems that you have done some mistake with your calculation. So please recheck your calculation. This very often happens in official exams that I've seen that students struggle over and over. All right. So therefore, just to make sure that sine and cos has limits from -1 to 1, it means that sine theta is equal to a particular value or cos theta is equal to a particular value. That value should lie between -1 to 1. Next is some of the special angles like 90 degrees, 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 and 360. Usually we consider theta in positive, I mean in counterclockwise direction to be the positive angle and starting from the initial x-axis. All right. Since we know this point here is which the line, the curve crosses x-axis is 1 comma 0, exactly on the x-axis, positive x-axis. On the positive y-axis it's 0 comma 1, and negative x-axis it's -1 comma 0, and negative y-axis it is 0 comma -1. If I choose a point P here, which is exactly on the x-axis, it means there is no angle formed. So therefore the angle here is 0. P, which is cos 0 comma sine 0, which is shared by another coordinate which is 1 comma 0. So therefore I could conclude saying that cos 0 is 1 and sine 0 is 0. Likewise, when I start the angle starting from the initial x-axis, moving in counterclockwise direction until here, which is our theta, theta now becomes 90 degrees because it exactly reaches the positive y-axis. If I choose a point P here, it is exactly 90 degrees and it is shared by a coordinate which is 0 comma 1. Hence I could say cos 90 is 0 and sine 90 is 1. Now I draw another angle which goes on until 180 in counterclockwise direction, which exactly meets the negative x-axis, and I name this as P, which is cos 180 sine 180, and it is being shared by a coordinate which is negative 1 comma 0. So therefore we have cos 180 is negative 1 and sine 180 is 0. Likewise it continues. I just move on until negative y-axis in the counterclockwise direction starting from the initial x-axis. I have an angle of 270 degrees. So if this point is P, which is cos 270 and sine 270, cos 270 is 0 and sine 270 is negative 1. And the last theta that I consider is moving in the counterclockwise direction, goes on until and reaches x-axis, which is called the one complete revolution. Initially it was 0. When it completes one revolution, it forms an angle of 360 degrees, but still reaches the same point as cos 0 comma sine 0. Therefore, we could also call that cos 360 is 1 and sine 360 is equal to 0. With the coordinates which is passing through x-axis and y-axis exactly, you could just name the special angles like 0, 90, 180, 270 and 360, which is only for sine and cos. As I mentioned before, we consider only few angles to be special angles, which will help you in future non-calculated papers. Please review this, and if you have any questions, you can always comment. And also please like, share and subscribe, and thank you for watching. And I hope you will continue support my channel.